Hello and welcome to another Every Tuesday tutorial. In this week's tutorial, we're creating an olive leaf wreath entirely in Procreate. So what you see on screen is exactly what we're creating together. As always, the color palette is free and available in the video description, so just tap on that link and you can download and install it. For this project, we're using my paid set of watercolor illustration brushes, but if you'd like to change up the style, feel free to use any brushes that you would like. I'm also using one of my lettering brushes from my Font Lovers lettering brush set, but of course use any brush that you prefer. So we're going to create a brand new document that's 1500 pixels by 1500 pixels at 300 dpi, and then we'll get started. Okay, I've got my document all set, so let's establish our background color. And our background color is kind of a mint color, so just tap on background color, and it's this light color up at the top at the very end, and it's just a very, very light shade of green. So now we're going to establish our symmetry settings. So I'm going to hit the wrench up here. I'm going to go to Canvas, tap Drawing Guide to turn the Drawing Guide on, and then hit Edit Drawing Guide. Down here, you're going to tap Symmetry, hit the options, change it to Quadrant, and make sure Rotational Symmetry is turned on. I am also going to make my guidelines a little bit darker so you can see them better on screen, and I'll make them a little thicker too. Okay, so now I'm going to hit Done. So you can see when we tap on our layers, this first layer, it says Assisted now, and that means that we have symmetry applied. So whatever I draw, let me change the color so you can see. Whatever I draw on one is going to appear in the other three quadrants. Okay, so what I like to do is give myself a base of where my wreath is going to go before I start drawing the elements. So I'm going to create a brand new layer right above layer one. You can see Assisted is not on this layer, so whatever I draw over here is not going to be repeated. And I like using this layer just to give myself a guide. So I'm going to draw a circle and keep my stylus on screen. So I'm just going to tap and hold and then hit Edit Shape and choose Circle. And now if I select it with my cursor, so I'm just going to tap on my cursor up here, you can see I've got my nodes on all four sides, and I can move this so it perfectly lines up. I'm going to reduce this just a little bit here so I have a little bit more room to draw elements around it. And if it's just a little bit off, remember that you can just tap in any direction to move in smaller increments. So this looks pretty close. I think I'm about as close as I can get here. So I'm just going to hit the cursor up here to deselect, and now I have this guide, and I can reduce the opacity of it if I just want it a little bit lighter so I can use it as a guide, but I can still see where it's at. Okay, I'm going to label this one Guide, and I'm going to drag this underneath layer one, so whatever I draw on layer one will appear above my guide layer. All right, so tap on layer one, and now I'm going to draw in my branches for all of my olive leaves to connect to. And for this one, I'm going to keep my brown selected down here, and the brush I'm using in the watercolor illustration brush set is the sketching pencil, and the size of this is 4%. So for my branches, I'm just going to kind of come really organically and move this around so they eventually connect. But I've got a lot of opportunity to draw leaves on these branches. And then where these two meet right here, I'm just going to make this connect. So it looks like it goes all the way around. So now we are all set to move on. I don't need my guide anymore. That was just to establish where my branches were going to go on this inner circle or this inner wreath. So I'm going to turn that off. And now in the same layer, let me label this one branches. Now I'm going to create some very loose branches that go around the outside. That way it looks like this wreath is really full and we're just cropping into it. So what I'm going to do is just continue drawing branches around the outside, and I'm loosely following the same curve here, but I'm not drawing as many branches because when I have a lot of branches in a really compact area, it draws more attention to that area, and I want all of my attention headed towards the center of my canvas. So I draw fewer branches out here because these are all my supporting elements that are just kind of filling everything out. That's my first outer circle, and then I'll do one more outer circle and then just fill in any extra that I need in the corners. So I'll come back around, even fewer branches this time. Okay, and then I'm just going to add in a few more in the corner. So now I've got all the branches that I need, and now we can start painting in our olive leaves. So I'm going to create a brand new layer. I'm going to label this one Blue Leaves. I'm going to grab my medium paint round brush, and I'm going to grab my blue color right here. So it's the third one on the top. In these leaves, let me also apply my symmetry. And instead of having to go back to our wrench and then turn on our symmetry, all you have to do is tap on the layer thumbnail and choose Drawing Assist, and the exact same symmetry settings will be applied. So for the leaves, they're kind of rounded at the top, so they look like this. And I'm going to come around sporadically and just draw these leaves on different branches. And with this brush, you just want to make sure that you keep your stylus on the screen. If you lift up your stylus, you're going to get a wet on dry technique. So if I come around and then I lift up and then I come around again, you can see we're getting those overlaps. And if that's not something you want, just make sure that when you're painting in one continuous motion with your stylus on the screen, and when you're done, then lift up. Move on to the next leaf. So if I were to come back here, it would give me an overlap. And if you don't want that, just make sure you're keeping your stylus on screen. Okay, I'm going to speed up the video and then I'll be back. Okay, we're going to create a brand new layer. We're going to call this one Teal Leaves. We're going to apply our symmetry settings again. So tap on the layer thumbnail, choose Drawing Assist, and we're going to select our second color right here and do the exact same thing. Last color, we're going to create a brand new layer, label this one Green Leaves, tap on the layer thumbnail, choose Drawing Assist, and we're going to select the very first color right here. So there we go. If you'd like to make any areas a little bit more full, you can also come in and paint directly on the branches. And if you'd like to draw a branch into those leaves, you can do that too, and that will just help to fill your wreath out. So I'm just going to go back into any areas that look like they may need just a few more leaves to fill everything out and just paint those in. All right, that's looking good. We can turn off our guidelines if you want those out of the way. I kind of like it nice and clean like that. So now we're going to add in some olives. So I'm going to create a brand new layer up at the top, label this one Blue Olives, and we're going to grab our dark blue color, which is the first one right here. I'm going to come back to my medium paint round brush and just put in, let me turn my symmetry settings on too. So tap on the layer thumbnail and choose Drawing Assist. I'm just going to put in little dots here and there, wherever there's some white space or some empty space. I'm going to put them in either clusters of 2 or just single olives, and just work your way around. You don't need to do too many. You just want it to be effective. And this is where I like showing off that wet on dry technique where they overlap when I have little clusters of 2. All right, I think that looks good. I'm going to create a brand new layer, label this one Green Olives, and come to my dark green color, which is the second one on the bottom row, and keep your medium paint round, tap on the layer thumbnail and choose Drawing Assist so we have that symmetry. And then I'm just going to fill in the rest of the gaps with the green ones. Okay, and then the last thing that I like to do is add a sketch layer on top to give it a little bit more of a watercolor sketch feel. If you'd like yours to remain clean like this, then you can move on to the lettering step, but adding this layer really helps finish everything off for me. So I'm going to create a brand new layer, label this one Sketch. I'm going to turn on that symmetry again, so tap on the layer thumbnail, choose Drawing Assist. I'm going to grab my dark blue color, which is the very first one. I'm going to return to my sketching pencil. The size of it should still be 4%. And I'm going to zoom in here and give myself just sketches and draw the line up of all these leaves. I'm not going over the branches. When I get to an olive, the front one, I will circle. I'll put a little dot at the top and then come around the other one if they're overlapping, and then put another dot up at the top. So I'm just tracing over any of the watercolor artwork that I've done for the leaves or the olives. Okay, and then the last thing we want to do is just add in whatever lettering or phrase that you would like in the center of your wreath. So I'm going to create a brand new layer, label this one lettering. I'm going to go to my Font Lovers brush set. I'm going to grab my jittery ink brush, and I'm going to select my dark green color for this, so the one right in the middle, and then just write out whatever phrase you would like. Okay, and then if you want to center your phrase or know where the center is, all you have to do is tap on your wrench and turn your drawing guide back on. And since we had the crosshairs before, they'll remain right here. And then I can just grab my lettering, and I've got my nodes now, and I can just slide it over, and then I know it's exactly centered. And then you're all set. So that's how to create a watercolor wreath entirely in Procreate. Once again, links to everything mentioned in this tutorial are right in the video description, including the free color palette, as well as the brushes. If you enjoyed this tutorial, please hit the like button, subscribe, and don't forget to hit the bell icon so you can be notified of new tutorials just like this one in the future. For more Procreate tutorials and freebies, head on over to my site, every-tuesday.com. You can also find me over on Instagram. My handle is everytuesday. If you try this out and post it there, I would love it if you tag me. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you next week.